This is probably why the recent story of a 104-year-old man has spread around the world in a blink of an eye. So, today I'm going to tell you about it. Meet the hero of our story, Clint Johnson, an American man who, as mentioned earlier, celebrated his 104th birthday. You heard right, he's 104. The man has lived a long life. He spent a whole century in this world. He has seen the good and the bad, felt happiness and misery. However, in his entire life, he most probably never experienced and certainly could not imagine what would happen to him one day. On a typical rainy fall day, September 25th, Clint Johnson woke up quite early. He was in a wonderful mood, even despite the gloomy weather. The man quickly made himself some tea, ate a few cheese toasts, and set off where he had planned to go for over 10 years. But where was it that the 104-year-old man was so eager to go, even on that rainy day? The thing is that Clint has been saving money for a long time. One day, as he was watching TV, he saw an advert for a Chevrolet car. There was nothing extraordinary about the car, but the man set his heart on buying it. It became his big dream. I guess you understand quite clearly that the lonely old man's income wasn't enough to buy it. The man denied himself lots of things to make his dream come true, and on September 25th, the big day finally came. Taking a plain black umbrella with him, the man headed to Joe Basil Chevrolet auto dealer in New York. Clint was already picturing how he would spend all his savings and drive his own car home instead of taking public transport. Back then, he couldn't even imagine what would happen next. After a 35-minute bus ride, Johnson found himself at the dealership. The car selection was huge, but the man immediately approached Chevrolet Sonic, which is more widely known as AVO. This is a low-end B-class car with the front-wheel drive system. Clint spent a long time examining the cars, and after half an hour, he made his choice. It fell on the latest model, a sedan with a 1.4-liter petrol engine, 138 HP capacity, and an automatic transmission. The car cost $17,000, which was exactly what the old man budgeted for. The senior made up his mind, so the next step was making the purchase. The elderly man approached the manager and said, "Hello, I'd like to buy this car." It may be a common practice, but the employee began to carefully examine the client from head to toe. He noticed that the man was wearing a baseball cap with the U.S. Air Force logo. And after asking Johnson just a couple of questions, the manager realized that the old man was a veteran. Besides, he was stunned by the fact that Clint was 104 years old. Well, it's not every day that you get to see a century-old person standing in front of you, and such an energetic one at that. We don't know how their dialogue would have continued, but in a few minutes, the manager smiled at the old man and walked off, asking the client to wait a little. Clint saw him talking on the phone, but he had no idea what was about to happen. After a short conversation, the manager went to get the car keys, after which he approached the senior again, saying he had some good news for him. However, he wouldn't tell him what it was until they came up to the car. The car dealer asked Clint to follow him, and the old man, though slightly puzzled, slowly went after the manager. "I thought he just wanted to show me the car, but what happened next left me speechless," the veteran said, tearing up. When they approached the black Chevrolet, the man handed Clint the car keys and said that it was his. Of course, the old man could not grasp what was happening at first, so he kept telling the manager it was a mistake because he hadn't paid anything for the car yet. But the employee's answer was truly jaw-dropping. "Thank you for everything, and no, you don't need to pay a cent." He added that it was a gift from the car dealership. As it turned out later, the manager had called his boss, described the situation, and asked if there was a way they could help the old man. To be honest, I was thinking that he would suggest a discount as a sign of respect for such an important client. But what he said was really shocking to me as well, confessed the manager who assisted Johnson in choosing the car. The dealership's general manager was so touched by the 104-year-old veteran's story that he made a spontaneous decision during the phone conversation. He didn't just offer a discount, but a new Chevrolet Sonic completely free of charge as a sign of gratitude and respect for the veteran. When the manager came up to me and told me I could have the car for free, I thought he was making fun of me. I have lived in this world for a long time. I have seen good things and bad, but I could never dream of something like this. I don't even know what to say, Clint Johnson admitted, a little nervous after receiving the gift of a brand new car. Of course, the story quickly attracted the attention of the mass media. Later, the employees of the car dealership explained to the journalists that they would never be able to pay back for everything that Johnson accomplished 75 years ago. The car, which cost $17,000, is nothing compared to the old man's priceless deeds. That's why, as a token of gratitude and respect, they decided to give him the car that he had coveted for so long. In this way, the 104-year-old Clint Johnson became the new owner of a brand new Chevrolet Sonic sedan. For some time after the incident, he was expecting the dealer to knock on his door, saying that it was a joke and demanding the car back. Luckily, his grandchildren reassured him, reminding Clint that the car was registered to his name. For more than a month now, the senior has been happily driving his car, warmly recalling the Joe Basil Chevrolet management and employees. However, this is not the whole story yet. It turns out that Joe Basil Chevrolet has a long history of helping veterans. Clint Johnson is neither the first nor the last of their clients who received a brand new car for free, just as a sign of respect and gratitude. Well, the story once again proves that kindness is still alive in this world. Each of us should act thoughtfully and respectfully towards elderly people, because we must never forget about the contribution they made to the developing of our society. This incident clearly demonstrates that the modern world is, after all, not as messed up as we might assume from the media.